Hello everyone. In this section, I'm going to explaining about primary data. Data is an important part in the research. We carry out the social science research with the help of the data. Data means raw information used for analysis. Every research is based on the data. The data are broadly classified into two headings, namely primary data and secondary data. In this section, I am explaining only about the primary data. Primary data are the data collected by the researcher himself directly from the respondents. These type of data are not available in previously. So it is called as original data. The data is collected by the researcher for his study and it is more related to his research topic and which is not previously collected. So the primary data means the original data collected by the researchers pertaining to his research topic and it is in original characters and not available in anywhere. Now I am explaining about what are the advantages are available for collecting the primary data. The primary data is more accurate one. Compared with the secondary data, the primary data is 100% accurate one because the researcher himself collected the data. So that for the data must be a reliable as well as accurate one. And next one is called as more reliable. In the primary data, the researcher directly meet the respondent and collect the information. So it must be reliable compared with the secondary data. And next one of the advantages is updated information. The researcher gather the updated information because the preference, attitude of the respondents are daily changed. So the updated information, the latest information should be collected by the researcher under primary data. And next, one more important advantage is more control over the data. Suppose the researcher use secondary data, there is no control over the data because it contains vast volume of data and old data are available and unnecessary data are available in the secondary data. But in the case of primary data, the researcher collect the data which are related to his topic only. So it must be a more control over their data collected by him. And next one is called as privacy is maintained. In primary data, the researcher maintains his data. It is not published in anywhere. So it gives 100% privacy. And another important point is understanding of data is better. Suppose the researcher use the secondary data, the data details are not knowing to the researcher in most cases. But in the case of primary data, the researcher know what is the purpose for the collecting the data. So he know each and every data collected by the researcher. And next one important advantage is reduce the respondent bias. The bias means unfavorable information or called as giving the wrong information, etc. Suppose if the researcher meet the responses directly, suppose the respondents give any false information. This type of bias can be easily find out by the researcher and change the data properly. And another one is called as a huge quantity of the data. Suppose the researcher used the secondary data, the number of data is available. That means content available in the primary data is very limited. It contains only limited number of the information. But in the case of secondary data, but in the case of primary data, the researcher collect huge information about the respondents. It helps to conduct the research in the best manner. And another one is called as data right. Suppose the researcher collect the data by himself only. That information is belonging to that person's only. Therefore, it must be a more suitable to his research and he is the owner of the data. Now we go to the next aspect, disadvantages of primary data. However, the primary data is having some more limitations. The main and most importance of the disadvantage is more expensive one. Suppose the researcher collected the primary data, it consume more amount for expenses because the researchers directly meet the respondents and gather the data. It will consume more amounts. And next one is called as time consuming process. Collecting the data from the respondent is not a simple task. You have to wait for the respondents' arrivals and you have to collect the data. You have to explain the needs of the data and the other information you have to explain in each and every respondents. Therefore, it consume more time and require more labors. Suppose the researcher is like to complete the data collection work very quickly. He appoint more number of enumerators. For that purpose, we have to spend a lot of the amount. Wide coverage is not possible. Another more important limitation is in the secondary data. In the case of primary data, applicable only for the limited area. If suppose the researcher collected the data from various areas, it is not possible because it consumes more time as well as it is a costly one. So the primary data is applicable only to the limited area one. And another thing is it is not for feasible for the all the situation. Some data are some research must be carried out with the help of the secondary data only. At the time, the role of primary data is very limited one. These are the main disadvantages of the second primary data. And next, how suppose the researcher decide to select primary source of collection of the data. You decide which method of the primary data should be suitable one. For that, we having the important five methods. One is called as observation method. By viewing the respondents' behavior, we collect the data. Is called as observation method. And next one is called as interview schedule method. Interview schedule method means the schedule contain list of questionnaires relating to the research topic. The researcher gathered the information with the help of the schedules from the respondent by himself. Mailed questionnaire, it is similar to the interview schedule, but in the case of mailed questionnaire, the questionnaire is sent to the responses through mail, and the respondent fill the interview schedule and once again posted to this mail to the researchers. It's called as mailed questionnaire method. And next one is called as interview method. Under this method, the researcher directly meet the respondent and conducting the interview. Face-to-face interaction between the researcher and respondents is carried out and collect the data is called as interview method. Instead of meeting the respondents directly, the researcher may contact the respondents through telephone and they have collect the data is called as telephone interview method. Based on the needs of the research, the researcher choose any one of these methods. Thank you.